Καλησπέρα σας, καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές. Good evening to you. Just let me carry on with my best English, okay? Well, faces again, and tonight I have two new faces with me. They are from the film The Fall of Empire, the story of Catherine of Alexandria. Katerina from Alexandria. It's Helen Michael. Good evening, Helen. Καλησπέρα.
Βασίλη.
Τι κάνεις, καλά είσαι?
Καλά, μια χαρά.
Welcome to Helen TV.
Thank you very much.
And I have Maria Christou, yes?
Yes.
Καλησπέρα,
Καλησπέρα,
Maria. Τι κάνεις?
Καλά, εσείς?
You are from Cyprus, yes?
Είμαι.
Yes,
Κυπρία.
είσαι από την Κύπρο. But Helen, you born here,
I was
yeah?
born here, from Greek.
Okay, before I go to the film and all this kind of thing, can you give me just a little bit more information about yourself? What do you do at the moment? I mean, how you get into filming and all this?
How did I get into filming? Well, I've always wanted to get into acting for film. When I first started, I did a course at Mount View Theatre, but that was for theatre.
Okay.
And I knew that that wasn't where I wanted to be. And eventually I wanted to direct my own film.
Okay.
And we were, funny enough, we were in Camden with Maria, and we have a habit of picking up magazines and going through them. And in there we saw an advert for Hendon Studio, where
they were looking for people
where
to,
Michael Redwood was originally. They were doing courses for directors and for actors, where I approached them for directing, but that course got filled up. And so I fell onto the acting side, acting for film, and Maria joined as well, acting for film. And that's how it all started.
So that was with Michael Redwood,
Redwood,
yes?
and that's when we saw the original trailer that they shot. I was so taken aback, I really liked it. I thought I really need to be a part of this. And Michael gave us every opportunity to, you know, if we were any good, he promised us a part in the film.
So, yeah, but you are the editor of the film as well.
I am.
How you get into editing?
Well,
was it in the
that
same
story
course?
Was, as I said, I'm just in filmmaking. So after the film was filmed, I asked Michael if I could observe him editing with the editor, and he said, why don't you go and do an editing course? I was like, okay. I thought that's a good idea, why not? So I went and done an editing course, and then I was editing with the editor at the time, and then for some reason he left due to some problems,
and you did
and then I had to take over the whole editing. I was a complete novice, but with the help of Michael supervising, we managed to complete the film.
Good. And you, Maria, you started here in London acting, or?
I came to London actually to take my studies further. I always had an interest into films, anything that had to do with being artistic, really. And it led me down to Michael's studio, which he's an incredible teacher. He's really, really good teacher. He's very supportive, and he would give the time to his students to explain if questions or fears or anything that goes through anyone's mind at the time. He was always there to help, which is very important.
How long the course was? It was a short course, or?
Well, it's 6 weeks, but then if you're any good, you carry on, you stay there for as long as it takes.
Yes.
So we were there for years, but we were working on the film as well at the same time.
Yeah, the film started how long ago?
Oh, I think it started just before I got there, which was, I think it was 2010, no, what am I talking about? When did I join? 2004, I think I joined. I think it started 2003, it must have been, because they shot the first trailer with Brian Blessed and Freddie Jones. And as I said, when I saw that, I wanted to join. And then after that, obviously due to financial reasons, it was put on hold until we got the finances to shoot more, and it was done in increments.
Okay. Now, going further, I mean, we're going to talk about the film in a minute, but you did anything else after that, apart from, you know?
Well, got my own script that I've written, and
for a feature film or short film?
Feature film. We're both going to be in it.
You're working together, yes?
Yes, but Maria has her own script as well.
Production, what is it?
Yeah, we're forming our own company.
Ah, okay.
With
What's the story? What's it all about?
It's a romantic comedy.
Oh, I like romantic comedy.
Yeah, it's called 4 Steps to Happiness.
That's good.
It's about 2 boys, men, the same age, who come from different backgrounds. One comes from a rich background, one comes from a poor background.
And they fell in love with the same girl?
No.
Okay.
Well,
that'd be a good story.
Sort of. Actually, no, you're not far wrong from there. You're not too far wrong. But the main point is, one got married, one didn't. One was a rebel and he was going out. He had all the freedom he wanted, and the rich one was restricted by his parents' strict upbringing. They wanted him to do well, and he got into a good job. He got married. He didn't have a family. He got married, and then for different reasons, they both have a nervous breakdown.
Oh.
Because one is a bad boy and he got in with the wrong crowd and got involved with drugs, ended up in prison, and then the rich one gets divorced.
Okay.
And then for different problems, they both have a nervous breakdown, and then they both end up, funny enough, in Cyprus. Which is, there's a yoga retreat in Cyprus where Nirvana is owned by Nirvana, which is, she's Nirvana.
Okay.
So she's the balance between the two. She helps them find happiness and peace within themselves, and how to cope with life.
That's nice. So you cast it, or?
Some people.
You're going to shoot it yourself? I mean, you have your own company, or you're going to
We're forming a company. No, I'm gonna hire. Obviously, when I get the money to shoot it.
You did the auditions yet, or?
Not yet.
Okay, let me know. Yes, I do. I'm always looking for a part. Yes.
You willing to come to Cyprus?
Definitely.
Always.
Yes. Always. Yes. Definitely.
It's another thing not to go to be missed, really.
You have something in mind, yes? For me?
Well, we always, there's always something.
Right. I'm happy about that.
I actually wanted to speak about Cyprus at this point.
Lovely.
And I mean, Cyprus is a beautiful island.
Definitely, yes. And
it's going unnoticed.
I think it's available, and there's so many, things you can do with
beautiful
filming
places.
Of course,
Beautiful.
You have everything, the nice weather, the scenery.
Well, we're hoping we've opened the gates to more people wanting to film there.
I don't know if you've noticed, there's a shot in the film where Constantine goes away to find St. Catherine, and is at the time where the sun sets, and it's so beautiful.
Beautiful, yes. I
realize amazing views, amazing views, and amazing valleys, and
everything.
Lovely. So, okay, now let's talk about the film, okay?
Yes.
You did the editing. I mean, you tell me how you started and all this kind of thing, both of you. And was it, good, enjoyable in Cyprus doing the filming and all this kind of thing?
Of course, yeah. We always enjoy going to Cyprus, and it's exciting.
How long, does it?
How long we were filming in Cyprus?
Were filming.
It's about 3 weeks.
3 weeks, I think we were in
about
Cyprus.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Each time we filmed, it was 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes.
Periods of 2 to 3 weeks.
And the first showing was last year? Or?
Of the film? It wasn't the full edited version. It was the longer version. It was over 2 hours, and we showed it for the investors, and then obviously it still needed a lot of work on it, and then it was re-edited and polished up, and then perfected, basically. And
talking about investors, I mean, you managed to get some funding.
We had private investors.
Private, yes.
Yeah.
Was it? Michael told me it was a low budget. Was it very low budget, or was it?
Not that low.
Yeah.
It's low, but
not that low. I mean, to be able to have all these actors in, like Peter O'Toole. And,
well, yeah, there's
you know,
ways you could get round that.
And,
so, yeah.
you know, all the rest of the...
Well,
you know.
they loved the script. If they don't like the script, they're not going to get involved, period. And
Yes.
I think Peter O'Toole had something to prove. He still hadn't won an Oscar at that time. And he was retiring, but he did our film first.
Yes.
And I think they gave him a Life Achievement
Award,
Oscar,
yes.
but he didn't win it for his acting. And he said
Yes.
he refused it. In one of the interviews, I can't remember who it was with, he said, I'm still in the game, he said, and I'm going to win this bugger outright.
Yes.
And that was, he was talking about our film.
Yeah, it's a good acting anyway for all of them. I mean, Ian, I watched the film and I love it. You know what I mean? It's got a very, I mean, the director, Michael, you know.
He's an excellent director.
He's a very good director. You have a good photography. Yes. You have good scenery. You have good actors. You know what I mean? It's
and
very
new faces as well.
And new faces as well. You know, I mean, and you have this young actor as well. What do you call him? I have him on
Jack Goddard.
Yeah, I have him on my show last week actually, and you know, he's very good. He's brilliant. I mean, when I was talking to him in an interview, I realized he was, you know, very excited about it.
Of course,
and
we all are.
Okay, when I watched the film, you know, I thought, yes, he's a talented guy.
He's
and
very
he can,
talented.
Yeah, he can do things.
He's got an amazing voice.
Yeah,
amazing
the voice.
Deep voice. That's what grabbed Michael originally.
I told him about the voice. I say, you have a brilliant voice, but it's not better than my voice. My voice.
Well, he stood out when he was acting at the studio at the time. Michael spotted him, and he loved his voice because he could project it.
Yes,
it was deep.
Exactly.
And that's what he liked. It was powerful voice.
He has a good face
presence,
for this.
Very good presence. Yeah.
Okay, so now the film is already, it's out again in the cinemas,
It's out in art house cinemas, I'm not sure how long for, but it's also at all the supermarkets, all the major supermarket chains on DVD, yeah. Okay,
shall I ask you before we go, I'm planning to go and see, we're going to see together the, you know, documentary about the film. Because, you know, it's a good documentary, and I want to show it to our audience, you know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
To make them go and see the film as well, or buy the film. Yeah. So, before I go to that, do you have any, except of the, you have, as you say earlier on, you have a script and you're working on that script, eh?
Yes.
Any other plans?
Well, more than that, no, not at the moment. No. Just survival, really.
Is that your full, you know, job at the moment?
Well, no, I'm doing other jobs to bring some income in at the moment, but eventually.
You used to work in a bank, yes?
I used to work for Bank of Cyprus, but no, I left there. When did I leave there? 1999, I left there. And then I lost my dad and my brother, so I was mourning for quite a while. And then I think my singing was before that.
And you sang in the competition, I remember, yes.
The decorum, yeah.
Yes. The decorum, yes.
Yeah, I didn't
You still doing the music?
I do. I have a passion for music, but I just do it for fun now. I'm not pursuing that career.
Talking about music, the composer is great.
He's excellent. John Gonzalez is such a good guy as well.
Yeah, he's brilliant, yes.
He's very, very good.
Yeah, you don't believe that, but he used to work for LGR, London Greek Radio.
Did he?
Yeah, he was a DJ for 2-3 years, yes.
Oh.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to meet him actually. Yeah, talk to him about the film,
not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Maria, tell me, do you do anything else at the moment, or?
Well, I just finished. I still keep up with studying, like acting and performing, and I like to keep it up. Yeah, well, I'm out there looking. Not much at the moment,
But you're working together with Helen?
Yeah, we're working alongside for our own project.
Where are you at the moment? Where you stand at the moment?
We're at the very beginning still.
Very beginning.
Early stages.
Writing the script yet?
No, the script's written.
The script is ready, yes.
Yeah, we're just still at the early stages, getting it out there, trying to get a producer to find us some finances to start shooting.
You're going to direct it? Because
I hope so, yeah.
You hope so. Yeah. Okay. Look at my face, listen to my voice and my expressions. You know what I mean? Think about Which part you're going to give me?
I'm sure. Keep me in mind, eh? Keep me in mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're gonna see this, documentary about the film, and I think it's a good time. We can say, bye bye as well, and watch it together, and then do you cook?
Of course I cook.
You do? What is your favorite?
What's my favourite dish? I like gubebia.
Gubebia. I love gubebia.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to do it? I mean,
it depends how many we're making.
Well, let's say 3 people, 6 each, 18 gubebia. How long?
It doesn't take long at all.
No, that's not too bad.
Okay.
20 minutes.
So should we start cooking then? All right, let's start cooking.
We're going to watch this and then we're going to have gubebia,
okay?
All right, it's been nice to have you in my show.
Thank you for having
and I
us.
wish you all the best with your new project, and I'm sure you're going to manage. You did well on the film.
Thank you very
your
much.
acting is good.
Did you notice the Greek?
Yes, I noticed the Greek, and I noticed you have a talent.
And my name in the film is Afero.
Afero, ne?
Afero.
I take things.
I
take things. Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yes, I did. And you, you're good as well. And looking forward to see you again.
Thank you very much.
And talk about your new project.
Our own project.
Yes.
When you have news,
ready.
come and
definitely,
talk to me again.
When we're ready to get it out there. Thank you very much, Vasily.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
As I say, nice to have you in the show, and look forward to see you again. But anyway, we're gonna finish and go have a gubebia anyway.
Of course.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Let's go and see the documentary, and then we're gonna come back and say good night to you.
Time out. It's time. Alas, my dear Catherine, church leaders in their infinite wisdom have decided that you do not exist. Nothing personal.
Are you the one who so shamelessly insults our gods? Those gods whose glory is everlasting?
The story of Catherine dates back 1,700 years, and despite the 400 to 500 Renaissance paintings depicting her as pale-skinned and European, the film that we produced portrays her as an Arab. All the evidence points to that direction. She was the first woman of position to denounce Rome's enforced pagan worship upon the masses, and she was extremely highly educated with an ability to speak and write in dozens of languages.
She writes in so many languages it could be dangerous propaganda. They must not be published.
Despite the senators trying to stop the writings, they were published and spread across the world, particularly in the north of England, Scotland and Ireland, where she had a tremendous following of barbarian women.
Of course, Catherine of Alexandria was a remarkable person. I mean, she was a very humble person, but a person of magnificent intelligence, and really had a rapport with the poor people, or indeed with everyone. And she was a peacemaker. That's the great thing about her.
The story begins when Catherine, as a child, is abducted and taken to Alexandria by Egyptian soldiers working for Rome's Eastern Emperor Maxentius. It also focuses on Catherine's childhood sibling Constantine, who survived the attack on the family camp. This was simply a case of child abduction, and brutal at that, with the slaughter of her family. For any young girl to experience what Catherine experienced, to be taken through the busy streets of Alexandria into a palace, and especially thrown into the dungeons for years, would have been a terrifying ordeal. Young Constantine grew up to become Constantine the Great, and never gave up hope of finding Catherine, much to the annoyance of his peers.
I've seen you wandering the lines of tents here, scanning the faces of the soldiers in my army. How dare you? I won't have it. You would need a lifetime of search to see all their faces.
Don't presume loneliness. There are those of us who understand.
Katerina was her name.
The main theme of the film is about Catherine's life. Obviously, she was snatched for her beauty. Then, after being locked away for years, she was eventually given some kind of freedom. Later on, when it was discovered how intelligent she was, this was seen as a threat by all of the senators within the palace, except for Gallus, played by Peter O'Toole. He is the only one who befriended Catherine.
We all know how much you despise her intellect.
She doesn't belong here. She never did.
It could be other gods, religions.
Vita, played by Samantha Beckinsale, was the woman who kept things together at the palace. She was the empress, or the wife of Maxentius, but in fact she was the woman who tried to do what all women do, and that's maintain the peace. However, that was difficult with a young, beautiful Catherine in the palace, gaining the attention of her husband. Vita tried to set Catherine free, tried to not harm Catherine, because she simply didn't know how to accept this godly woman in her midst. And from what we can gather, Vita simply vanished from the history books. There's very little known about her. However, what is known needed to be played by an accomplished actress, and that's why we particularly headhunted Sam Beckinsale.
Rome has adopted many gods from many countries. Serapis, Attis.
Rome has never denounced any of its gods, adopted or otherwise.
Bring her.
At this point, the film portrays Helena, who was supposedly Maxentius' mother, starting to see Catherine's point of view, and in fact defending her when Catherine is cross-examined.
Name 10 most mighty, merciful Roman gods of worship.
You name them.
When senators themselves were asked about naming gods, they didn't know the names of half of them. They didn't know which were the Greek gods, which were the Roman gods. It was hypocrisy throughout the empire.
Mars, Jupiter, Vulcan, Ceres, Sol Victus.
Roman gods.
As an editor, I think this was a really interesting project to work on because of the importance of the film and the story of Catherine. It was quite a challenge to leave in some of the more humorous scenes. I think there was about 4 of them in total. And we felt in the end that we would have to leave them out due to the power of Catherine's story. We felt maybe it would take away from that.
Kill the traitor! You should ask your father who my father was before you kill me.
My father?
Yes, your father. Are you deaf? Inbreeding makes you deaf. And time matters. I will give you hand signals.
And who was your father?
I have no idea. Do you?
Whilst there was a lot of confusion in Egypt, in the west, i.e. in Britannia, Hibernia, Scotland and Ireland, the Roman soldiers were very unnerved at what was being perceived as the collapse of their gods. They were being swayed by Constantine's refusal to worship Rome's gods. Where this came from, we don't know, but it could have been from his younger years with Catherine, in that she may have told him at a very early age that there was only one God.
Their gods are not our gods. False gods, ours.
Constantine let that be known to his troops, and some of the troops didn't like it. For them, it was like having no union behind them. They wouldn't fight unless they had their gods, and they carried a small, what was called a fuller, a small bag with some of the icons inside the bags, and that was for them tremendous security.
We heard about Constantine looking for new gods.
Hearsay. Why come to me? You're fuller.
Right here, General. My gods. Are they not also yours?
My fighting days are long over. I no longer carry a fuller.
I have here a paper which, when translated from its original Greek, denounces both Rome and our gods. It is circulating freely among many parts of our Western Empire.
It belongs to us.
By this time, the genie was out of the bottle, and word had spread all the way from Alexandria across the world to England, Scotland, Ireland. Ireland was in fact a stronghold, and that's probably the reason why there are 63 sites in Ireland that are dedicated to Catherine.
I don't know what secret messages you've been spreading in your books, or how you managed it.
As to how the message was transferred all the way over to Ireland, we don't really know. We can't be exactly sure. It was probably due to slave ships being commanded by Nubians. That is more than likely the reason, but as we can't be 100% sure, that will be one of the many mysteries surrounding the story of Catherine.
It was always going to be difficult choosing which scenes would stay in the film and which scenes would not be used. We decided against one scene, that it's not in the movie, but looking back now, it is a powerful scene where Vita, who kind of puts a protective arm around Catherine to a degree, in herself trying to maintain the peace, eventually lost patience with Catherine because of Catherine's inability to tell a lie. Vita had warned her, agree with the senators and they will let you live, agree with Rome's gods, but Catherine was having none of this, and so Vita switched off all sympathy towards Catherine and even went as far as goading her the night before the trial.
In your meeting with the senators, you will find little favor.
I found myself obviously focusing on the theme for Catherine herself, but one particular scene that sticks with me is the one with Gallus and Catherine. Gallus, of course, played by Peter O'Toole, and Catherine by Nicole Kane-Hart. The scene featured very beautiful dialogue, very powerful dialogue, and the music had to play a role which will allow that dialogue to shine through.
Do you know of Otusilla, the Greek goddess who solved the riddle of the universe, yours and mine? She bestowed great libraries upon the people of Greece. Yet within those walls, scholars in disarray murmured,
"Devil worship."
Of course, I found myself writing music for such powerful dialogue and obviously very powerful performances. But of course, my job was to find a theme that would depict Catherine herself. We had a lot of discussions with director Michael Redwood in terms of what kind of instruments we were going to use. But I wanted to suggest something new, and that new came in the form of an instrument which is very, very familiar to everyone. It's the common clarinet. But there is a way to play the clarinet in a Middle Eastern fashion. There are very, very few people who can actually do this very, very well. And I was fortunate enough to meet a person called Stavros Palartidis from Athens, who plays this instrument really, really well.
We discussed at great length with Nicole how we would get across Catherine's suffering on screen, whilst at the same time showing the absolute compassion that she felt for all people, including those people who would simply attack her for her beliefs and humiliate her. Even though she was about to stand trial in Egypt for blasphemy, Catherine's teachings had spread and had united Romans and barbarians in the western regions.
There will be no more killing of Christians. All faiths will be free.
However, in Egypt, the power-crazed and paranoid senators continued to impose Rome's gods upon the masses as Catherine was brought to trial.
Maxentius says that you are no longer needed, and so you must debate with Rufus, where you will lose.
This is 300 years after Christ had been put to death, and yet Christians were still being slaughtered on a mass scale, especially in Egypt. Catherine's teachings were the turning point for Rome. You've got one woman's intellect against these powerful people, these powerful senators.
You are visitor, not commander of this earth, which was created by the one Almighty God.
There is no one Almighty God!
The senators couldn't match Catherine's wisdom or her intellect, and I think it's by no coincidence that Constantine, when he did control both sides of the empire eventually, he gathered everybody together at the Council of Nicaea and established once and for all Christianity as a world religion.
Has this film affected me? Absolutely. I think it's affected everybody that's worked on it. The more we've got involved in the story, we've looked into it, we've studied it, it's had such an impact on us because it is such an important story and it is so real.
It has affected me as a director, mainly because despite the 1,100 buildings named after Catherine and the hundreds of Renaissance paintings of Catherine, there's still an argument as to whether or not she existed. And for me, personally, she did.
When you feel lonely and afraid, let your mind think of those like me who take you for what you are. I know of souls who have been tortured by others, souls tortured by themselves, and souls so weak they could no longer stand independently. But when all of us combine in death, weak and strong, we shall see the world a far away place.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I've seen the film, you know, and I love it. Now I know more about it.
Yeah.
Watching this documentary, I know more about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And it's good to know and hear from people who are involved in it.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So, okay, now I think it's time to say good night, you know what I mean, to our audience. And I'm going to be with you next Sunday again with a new face or new faces. Till then, look after yourselves and Καλό Πάσχα. Today is our Greek Easter. It's our Greek Easter today. You know what I mean? All right.
Καλό Πάσχα σε
and you, we're going to have κουμπέπια now.
Of course.
Okay?
Έχεις τον κέιμαν έτοιμο?
Το γκέμαν, κοίταξε.
Και τα κλιματόφυλλα.
Κλιματόφυλλα, έχω ένα κλίμα στην αυλή.
Πώς κόβεις τα?
Να πάμε να κόψουμε. Καλά, θέλει πολύ ώρα. Να τα κόψουμε, να τα φουσκώσουμε.
Δηλαδή δεν έχεις τίποτα έτοιμο.
Και να μην προλάβουμε να φάμε κουπέπια, να τα βάλουμε να ετοιμαστούν, τα φύλλα και όλα, και να φάμε αύριο.
Ναι. Πάλι γίνεται.
Τι να κάνουμε. Έστω και έτσι. Λοιπόν,
καλή νύχτα.
Καλή νύχτα σας.
Καλό σας βράδυ.
Good night to you and see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.